Do you want to see what a $400,000 a month business actually looks like? Well, you're in the right place. This is my daily updates channel where for the better part of the last 200 days or so, I think I've missed 4 of them. But for the better part of the last 200 days, I've just been showing you guys what I'm really doing in my business in real time. I'm also answering questions and delivering some value. So this is Nick's daily updates. I start with YouTube comment Q&A, then I build and strategize in public, and then finally I run you through my growth on YouTube, Instagram, and products. Very much a day in my life. If you don't know who I am or where the hell I come from, I do have another YouTube channel, just kind of like where I started. There's over 180,000 subscribers right now. And then all I do here is I just like scroll all the way down to the bottom of this giant stack of questions to answer them, okay? So if you guys want to like understand the rationale behind this daily updates channel and stuff, just go to the channel itself and then sort by oldest and then click on that last video, or the first video, I should say. That'll show you my rationale. I initially wanted to make $37,000 more a month. I've since used this channel and others to make over $250,000 more a month. So we are very much printing right now, and it's good times. All right, let me run you through my thoughts on all of your questions. Last one was from Adam Basha. Hey, Nick, this is a two-parter. Been watching, or at least trying to watch all your videos to consume as much knowledge as I can to kickstart my AAA. It's a fancy term for AI automation agency. If I want to become more fluent in AI, as in not just running an end and make automations, but learn the whole mix-up to become an AI consultant, what should I learn and dive into more? Machine learning courses, prompt engineering? Basically, I want to be able to know 90% of this new technology. And what are some AIs in general that are a must to learn and be fluent in? Very interesting. I suppose you're asking, hey, should I like become a mathematician, essentially? How much matrix multiplication do you really need to know in order to sell this stuff? The good news is nothing. I made the mistake in my early AI career of spending a bunch of time actually like recreating a GPT, one of those generative pre-trained transformers. It's like a nano GPT by Andrej Karpathy, who just has like a big GitHub repo out there and a bunch of guides, and he walks you through making one. So it was a massive pain in my ass. Taught me a bunch about the underlying architecture of these models, which is cool, but I don't really use any of that to actually make money online. I wish, in hindsight, I just skipped all that and then just started using it actively. I would say that there is some predictive utility in knowing how the models work, like really, really deep under the hood, but it's like, it's like 2%. It's not the 80-20 for sure. So 80-20 for you, assuming that you actually are using this to like, make money and not just because you want to make a GPT-8 or something like that. Granted, if you learned how to make a GPT-8, you would probably make a bunch of money. But what I mean is, if you don't want to become a mathematician, but if you want to make a bunch of money, so business, then skip all that BS altogether. Learn prompt engineering. Okay, that's an extraordinarily high income skill. And then with your understanding of no code and then prompt engineering, and then maybe it's just some like basic performance eval stuff, like just head over to the Anthropic, prompt guide. Okay, basically walk through this thing top to bottom, and you would probably be the top 10% of AI consultants out there, right? If you just like went through this top to bottom and learned all of this, okay? It does not really require all that much, believe it or not. Aside from that, you just need to work with this and communicate with these models as often as possible over the course of the next couple of years. Okay, another thing regarding starting an AI automation agency, I've considered subscribing to your school program, but my question for that is, what am I going to find there that's impossible for me to find anywhere in your YouTube channel? What more value or resources do you have? I'd like to know a detailed breakdown that would justify my monthly investment. Adam, I would love to walk you through this, but I would just be restating everything on my video sales letter. So if you want to know what that's like, just head to makerschool.com, not makerschool.com, sorry, school.com/makerschool, like that. Head to the About page, and man, do I run you through all the benefits associated with this. I will say, in short, I give everything away for free. So you have all the knowledge that you need. It's the implementation and accountability towards that implementation that I'm helping people do that I'm charging for, okay? I don't believe knowledge really makes sense to gatekeep these days. Just because we have AI models that are talking galaxy brains these days, there's just no need to gatekeep knowledge, right? What's the comparative value of knowledge in our post-knowledge economy? Okay, Money WizDM says, Nick, you're my favorite YouTuber now. That's what I'm talking about. I used to watch influencers posting nothing of value except vlogs and a paraphrased version of another YouTuber's content. Not one like you, at least that I know of. Quick question. I have no duties for the day. No school, no work, basically 24/7 free. Oof, to be young. How can I use my time wisely to grow faster than my competition? Can you guide me on how to start posting content on YouTube that I'd be able to monetize in the future? Well, it really depends on where you are. If you're starting from a place where you've made some money and you have notable accomplishments that you could talk about, then starting a YouTube channel is fine. But if you don't have anything notable, no major accomplishment, then I would not start a YouTube channel first. What I would do first is I would knock something out of the park and get some social proof under your belt, get some win in the arena of business. And then once you have the win, then you can start talking about it like and then combine those two to make a wins machine as I have. So the most important thing I would say, if you're a total beginner and you've never done stuff like this before, like if you've never sold anything before, never made any money, focus less on monetizing through content and focus more on just like starting a business and then doing outreach to people that might want to be interested in your products or services. Sell, make, I don't know, $20, $30, $40,000, pay down a lot of your client debt, a lot of your knowledge debt, understand, like what people are really willing to pay for. And then you can start posting content on YouTube and stuff like that later. Okay. Hey, what's going on? Tech Tomlin, how you doing? I had a call with his community. He runs a voice agent one. Hey, what's going on, Big Dog? One of the goats from way back in the day, Make Money with Make. The brother went from a $1 million goal to a $3 million goal within 1 month. Nick, you're a champ. Thank you. And 8 guy up 5 pounds is huge. Dude, sick, man. Nice job. Max said, I wrote this comment halfway through the video and then found the answer to my question, so thanks. Okay, well, I'm glad you found the answer to the question. Guess we're moving on. Hey, bro, what's your camera setup? Nobody kill me for that. Hey, bro, what's your camera setup? A Sony A7C, then a Samsung Q2U, and then I pass all of my stuff into a platform called Ophonic. Title worked on me, even though I know it's a fear-monger title, so amped for any new AI update. GPT-5 is a new end of the economy. So all the people saying this stuff clearly, like it just launched and then they were just super stoked about it. And then, 2 weeks out, everybody's talking about how the launch was a disaster. Didn't expect to see myself in the video. You shall. I just see this pop up on ChatGPT a few hours ago. Thank you. Laugh my ass off of the pencil neck comment. It does kind of look like a pencil, doesn't it? Always dropping the sauce. Thank you. Man, the amount of love and appreciation I have for this guy's huge. Thank you. Hey, what's going on, Mustafa? Absolutely. I mean, Adonis is right, but you need to be consistent about it. And, if you can be consistent for 2 to 3 months, you will outshine 90% of the competition. Great video, Nick. I've essentially made it a routine to check your daily updates the last couple of weeks. I have a few questions. Do I need domains when I'm getting mailboxes from Zapmail? For running my AI automation, do I need domains? You can purchase them inside of Zapmail. Otherwise, you can bring them over. Yeah. And if I've got 10 mailboxes currently, how do I use them for the 3 different niches you recommend? Wouldn't sending 30 mails per mailbox for each of the 3 niches damage the reputation of my mailboxes? No, not, for each of the 3. Yeah, sorry. Max all in is 30 per day. So it's not 30 per day per niche. It's 30 per day per mailbox. So you have 3 niches. It'd be 10 per day per niche per mailbox. Make sense? Kalai gives me some hearts. Orthodox gentleman says, dude, you are a con artist. That is a very unorthodox thing to say over here, but hey. 78 from God's Creation. Thank you. My boy's going to be the next Alex from Rosie Jack and Smart. Thank you, Mason. Guys, thank you so much. Jesus. Hey, Nick, thanks for the value, but okay. Currently, I spend 3 to 4 hours working on my business. I spend a lot of that time doing outreach and money activities. The rest of my time goes to my full-time job, training, and sleep. Next week, I don't have any job shifts, so I have the whole day free. I'm not sure what to spend that time on. Can you please give me some advice on how I should use the 12 to 14-hour day? Well, that was 2 weeks ago, so I'd be curious. Please give me an update. How did you spend the 12 to 14-hour day? How should you spend the 12 to 14-hour day? Man, am I being asked some fun stuff these days, huh? You should read all 129 chapters of Berserk to catch up with me so then we can talk about it. It would be awesome. That's the main thing that's on my mind. No, I'm just busting your balls, man. Listen, you're spending a bunch of time doing outreach and money activities. I want you to know that I think about all this stuff kind of like the gym. So if you have 12 hours available to go to the gym, and you normally just go to the gym 1 hour a day, but today you have 12 hours, are you going to make 12 times the progress? No, you're not going to make 12 times the progress. You're going to make like 1.25 times the progress. The reason why is because you have diminishing returns on more effort applied after a particular point. What I mean by this is there are certain activities in your business and in a beginner business that if you just do, you will achieve 90% of the total accessible results to you in that day. And that's what you should focus your time on. So what are those activities? Well, what did you say there? Money making activities, so outreach-based activities, lead generation-based activities, sales-based activities. These tend to be the 80-20. And if you're capable of filling your dang calendar up with a bunch of those, then you're good. And you'll have accomplished the vast majority of what you need to accomplish. Okay, so I don't want you to think about all of that. I want you to think about how to, make money with this stuff. RIP agencies, nope. We want to know about GPT-5, the changes, not how good you are at business, not good enough to do the actual content of the video first. Fair enough. Guys, do we believe him that he forgot to talk about GPT-5 until the very end, or was it planned for more watch time? In one of the videos, I heard you say, tell them to just throw a thumbs up and I'll build the entire system for you for free. And then you said the CTA should be something easy to follow. However, my question here is, if you give them what they want for free, how the hell are you going to get money? I understand the lead magnet, but isn't this going to cost a lot for us? No, you will. It may cost a lot for you, but what matters is not the cost. What matters is the result, the return on that cost. So if you're a beginner, the cost is primarily going to be in the time, right? As a beginner, time is the one thing that you have. And what you do is you trade that time for a result. Once you have that result, aka money, you can then start building a business that trades money for time back and, start doing everything else you need to do. But right now, as a beginner, the most high ROI, like the straightest line path to doing something, to making something happen, is you get in front of somebody, okay, like one-on-one, you show them a tremendous amount of value and you solve a problem. And the second that you're in the room with them, the opportunity to do something multiple. I mean, it's like, like how many times bigger is 1 than 0? It's like technically an infinite number of times bigger, right? Because 0 multiplied by anything is still 0. So it's technically an infinite times amount of bigger. You're at 0. You getting in a room with somebody is a 1. So it's like technically you have access to infinitely more opportunity just by being in a room with somebody that may want to procure a service that you're providing. If you are capable of solving a problem for them, there is no cost big enough to make that be something you should not do. Okay, I guess to make it abundantly clear here, as a beginner, not doing this is an existential threat. If you do not find a way to get in a room with somebody as quickly as humanly possible, the probability of you feeling positive and validated in a business model to be able to continue going through the shit and the ups and the downs, because there are going to be plenty of them, is very, very low. And so the only thing you should be focusing in is, how do I get on as many of these calls as possible? How do I get as much face time with people as humanly possible? How do I get to learn about how to actually solve real customer problems from their mouths, not just the opinions of, YouTube dudes like Nick? And that's the most important thing. Okay. Master says, hey, Nick, amazing content copywriter and funnel builder. I want to do Rev-share to scale the funnels for its CRO and the copy to generate leads from client social media. How do I frame this offer? Should I just give them a sample of the funnels or copy? Should I give them the automation template as the lead magnet? My plan is to validate as fast as I can, get enough results to actually set some specific price in the future. So the best way to do this would be to sell the deliverable, not the system that generates the deliverable. That's the most important thing. My recommendation for you is do not do Rev-share upfront if you have no money. So actually demand a setup fee. Don't demand Rev-share. Actually, when you go into something, deliver a ton of value for free. Don't get me wrong. But after you're done with that, make your pitch, okay? Ask for the sale. Ask for some money up front. If you don't, you'll never get to a good enough point in sales where you'll consistently be able to generate some sort of money that is not performance-based. Generally, as a beginner, you're forced to do performance-based because you don't have the sales skills. And then as a noob, you kind of upskill your sales, and then you get to a point where you can actually demand, $1,500 up front, $2,000, $5,000 up front for services before you've rendered performance. And then as an expert, you realize, well, performance is actually where all the money is, and I'm really good at delivering performance, so I'm actually going to do performance. You're at the very beginning of this, so just egg towards the ability to get money up front before your services have been rendered. 2034 for GPT-5. We're going to see that photo of you, Alex, and Sam for a while. If I were you, I'd make that my Christmas card. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to milk that shit. I'm just milking that. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Apparently I'm in Hormozi's book, or I'm in not like he mentioned me or anything, but I'm in the book to some extent. Let me check this out. Let me see if I can show this to you guys. Money models, probably. Check this video out from Geraldo. I think I'm in a placard that a little piece of paper that they include with it, talking about how you should join school. Yeah, that's pretty sick. Got the little goat emoji and stuff too. I'm gonna milk that until the end of time. Great video, says Tenbeard. Thank you. Nice advice, mate. Thank you. I wish I could say mate and be cool with it. Oh boy, not the Matrix fault. Oh no, Mr. Marvok. So we get a lot of spam here. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, let's do one more. Hey, Nick, I'm taking on a fairly large luxury car rental company in London with a partner. Right now, they spend a pretty large amount on Google and Facebook ads, roughly about $30K. Is that per month, I take it? Our goal is to help them cut back on that as much as possible. So we're going to go targeting travel agencies, PAs, and film companies in the area with personalized emails, pitching a discounted rate and rewards that they would get for all the clients through a custom portal we'd give them access to. Just struggling how to structure the personalization, just the email in general, because I'm not used to pitching something like this. Any thoughts? Appreciated. Cool. This is a great question. Personalization wise, the goal with personalization, believe it or not, if you really want to crush with the stuff, is actually to make it as informal and as incidental as humanly possible. You don't actually want like a giant, hello, I've been following 3-star web agency for a while and I love your focus on blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. No, you actually just want it to be super short. Like, hey, X following Y for a hot minute, big fan of Z, you know? Boom, that's it. And, like one line max. Hey X, saw you talk about blank, paraphrase thing of one of their posts on social media. Really resonated with me, so wanted to send you this. Imagine seeing that as like the Gmail teaser with a subject line that's like, Nick, no, you've never heard of me, but, or, Nick, or Nick, how's it going? Or Nick, felt like I had to reach out. Or Nick, just read your post about paraphrase thing. Imagine you combine those two and I see that in like my Gmail thing, right? Like title, subject line, and then teaser. What am I going to do? I'm obviously going to click, right? Like, dude, I click now on a lot of emails like that, despite the fact that I get like hundreds of pitches per day of bullshit that people try and peddle me all the time. Like, you could probably send this to Bill freaking Gates if you had his contact info and he would click. So, the whole idea behind personalization is you basically just want it to be as extraordinarily informal and casual as humanly possible. That's about it. Oh man, I am getting I'm getting absolutely shat on for this. I think I talked about how I would be getting shat on when I made it, but I didn't anyway. Can't blame people for this. Okay, Nick makes an appointment AI scheduler, which allows you to cancel bookings, reschedule, call the customer, and their doctor will be late or would like to reschedule. That sounds pretty cool, although I'd just be careful about doing that with, like medical data, okay? All right. Anybody else just absolutely shitting on me? Fanny from that Diary of a CEO video, don't doubt Hormozy's pull. Yeah, I was on the Diary of a CEO. New character unlocked, Black Hat Nick. I'm a Black Hat the whole time, baby. Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much. Let's do some brand stats really quickly. Why now? Just because I have no idea how long I'm going to yap. Just a few minutes, probably. But let's do this. So in case you don't know, brand stats is where I just like track my brand. I do this primarily not as a... I'm not actually trying to be like hyper like good or anything. When I'm trying to I focus less on the perfection of the tracking because I could totally just build an automated system to do this. And I focus more on just the intentionality behind it, which is just, knowing approximately, I think that was it. Sorry, 395. Jesus. I just want to focus more. Wow. Did I really grow 1,441 in the last 24 hours? Where the hell did these subs come from? And it's also important to me that when I do this a little bit every day, like I can kind of keep track of where a lot of my subs are coming from and stuff. I don't think I grew that much. Did I just not track this right? Let's see. No, I really don't think I've grown that much. I don't know what happened here. Did I write this wrong? Oh, geez, it's been it's the 22nd today. Yeah, I'm dumb. I forgot to do brand stats yesterday. That explains that. Okay. All right. That's much more reasonable. So it's just about the intentionality behind it, right? So that's my main channel. This is my YouTube, my Instagram. And then this is my daily updates channel when you guys are watching right now. By doing this, I just constantly recenter my awareness and focus towards this metric, which I really care about, which tends to be my subscriber count. Okay, and then I have a little formula because every now and then I miss a day. So I missed a day, I guess. Here and here and here. Oh, here. There you go. I think this is fine now. I don't know why this is so off, though. Yeah, there you go. Cool. All right, so how am I feeling about the growth? I'm feeling all right. This is the first day that I recorded a YouTube video for my main channel in quite a while, so I just did it today. It's meant to be like a pushback against a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing right now on AI and automation. Generally speaking, it's just like a little overly sexy nowadays. The promises and claims that people are making, I would say, are just like way out of line. The idea that these AI models can do everything and anything for us. Oh, man. In fact, that whole video that I said, what GPT-5 means for AI agencies, anybody here that watched it and didn't want to stick my head on a pike will know that the whole point I was making was like nothing changed when these models drop. We just get marginally better at stuff we've already been doing. And the reality is most business problems are solved problems at this point. There's nothing novel or new about how to optimize an agency or a service business. So when these models come out that are just like 2% better, 3% better, these marginal improvements, everybody is pretending as if it's like a game changer and like, my goodness, the sky is falling. It's going to completely invalidate an industry. But that's typically not how things work. It's never like a 0 to 1. It's always like a slow shade of gray, right? So yeah, these AI models are, Sam Altman himself, I think, confirmed it, but like there's a kernel of truth, and then expectations explode. And that's the definition of a bubble. And that's what we're in right now. So my intention isn't to like fully pop a bubble. I don't think I have that power, but it's to let a little bit of that air out. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I think it's going to be mostly about the packaging. I'm also using a very controversial title. It'll be the first time I've done something that controversial, I would say. And I don't know actually if like the algorithm will like it. I have a feeling the algo may see that and actually be like, I don't know, my video might not get monetized. Let's just put it that way. Hopefully I don't put the monetization of my entire channel at risk, but I have to do something like this eventually, right? I have to be a little controversial, so that'll be fun. And I'm excited to see what the first YouTube video back will be. I'm not going to say it's like the best video I've ever posted. It's just me yapping for about 12 minutes or something like that. But I think people also tend to like the shorter content that I've been making. They watch a Nick Saraev video that's like 40 minutes and then they expect to see another one. Then they see it's 10 minutes and they're like, oh, wait a second, that's actually like pretty palatable. I could probably watch that on my walk to work or something. You know what I mean? So anyway, a lot of stuff that I'm thinking of here. Aside from that, I did just read like 20 chapters of this wonderful series called Berserk, which is just one of the greatest series of all time. I've read it a really long time ago, and it stuck with me as a kid. Well, geez, I definitely did not watch that shit as a kid, let me tell you. I should have gone to jail if I watched that as a kid. But it stuck with me for quite a while. I was very much a Berserk enjoyer. And man, what an incredible story, huh? It's one thing to read it like when you're young and like you don't really have an appreciation for the quality of fiction, the potential quality of fiction. It's another thing to read it when like you're a little bit older and you can kind of zoom out of it and be like, you can really appreciate a good story and the work that goes into it. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And then like on the business side of things, if anybody is still listening, hopefully I've now dispelled all of, most of the guys that don't really care too much about this have gone so we could talk about real stuff. I have this idea in mind that I'm going to buy a business. I just have tons of liquid capital and it makes sense for me to reinvest it. I think if I buy a business as well, if I make a purchase of a company, it'll reduce my taxable income for next year, which is valuable, but also it'll add us a tremendous amount of social proof that I'll use to legitimize my offering more moving forward. If you think about it, most people that make a ton of money nowadays with any sort of information, they had some established success outside of information. So Hormozy had his gyms or something. I had my agencies. I'm thinking of like 30 names here, but I don't want to necessarily mention the names because I don't want any sort of negative connotation to apply. But mostly you have some success, which is an established level of success in an industry. And what you do is you use that as a springboard upon which to show people how they can do it as well, for the most part. And then that's where you make multiples on that money. So I want you to treat your initial business success that do cool shit and then talk about it, that, a bunch of people are like, hey, should I start my YouTube channel? Should I do this? It's like, no, do something cool first and then start talking about it. That's your initial nugget. That's kind of the 0 to 1. Once you have the 0 to 1, then you create like an extraordinarily good monetization model, and then you can go from like 1 to 100. But in order to grow past that point, the size of your social proof needs to grow. And your social proof cannot be based on the sale of information. At least I don't think. I think if it is, then you typically attract a negative reputation. And I think in addition to that, I think it's just not like as ethically sound. So, to that end, what I've done is I've continued to operate all of my agencies, and I've continued to like do the very things that I preach constantly. And that's why my information has been able to be such a high quality. Whereas a lot of other people, I think you can tell, may have had some success starting some business forever ago, but then they just abandon it, and then they just squeeze like a defunct model that doesn't actually work anymore into the future, and like 2 or 3 years down the line, everybody's like, that guy sucks. So I think I've been able to like hedge against that. But anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like the size of that accomplishment needs to be larger for me to continue growing. I know that it needs to be larger. My math is about 20x. So if you have some accomplishment, let's say you make $1 million a year, you could scale that accomplishment to 20x through some sort of information product sales. This is my like little head canon here. I've been like mad scientist mode recently, if you guys can't tell. So I've looked across a bunch of industries, I've looked across a bunch of people, and it seems to be there's like a 20x. Now, I mean, I've run the equivalent of a 4-minute mile here with the one-man school community. So I'm not trying to say that like I could not squeeze out more, but there's probably some natural resistance at that level, if I were to imagine, just from first principles. If so many people like end up capping it about there, that's probably why. So what I need to do next is I kind of have two options if I want to continue growing through the sale of information and continuing to be a trusted resource of information. One, I can expend my time. I can invest money into my own business. So left click, which we're doing. We signed a contract with the, one of the members of the royal family, for instance. Signed another contract just, I think 2 weeks ago now. So, I mean, it's been like a contract every week every 10 days for like the last 30 days. And we have, I don't even know how much money in pipeline right now, like another 50 grand a month, probably, just with all the conversations we've had. So, I am doing this, but I could continue reinvesting, and then I could scale my agency to like, $200,000 a month or something. And then I could take that proof and then I could make all of my content talking about real applications of that. And I could scale probably to like 4 million a month with that, or like 50 million a year. I think I could. Okay. But that would take time, and then it would also take my energy, and it would also take away from my ability to like create content and sell in the first place, right? So what I'm considering doing is buying a business. I will buy a business, preferably a business that is high revenue, low margin. This will allow me to have brand association with a very big, successful, high revenue business. So like a business that does $30 million a year, or whatever. I'll become a part owner of the business, a co-owner. And now, one, I'll have like instant credibility and legitimacy. And then two, I'll also have like access to a different level of scale to deploy my systems and my automations, which I think will add a tremendous amount of valuable content to me. Because I mean, I've done the agency thing a lot now, and I'm going to keep doing it, of course, but I've done the agency thing a lot. To me, the processes are kind of like a solved problem. It's very much horizontal growth, and that's fine. But I just don't really think that there's anywhere near as much value as could be gained versus me buying like, I don't know, I could buy like a couple of staffing agencies or something like that. Well, I guess it's still an agency, but I could buy like a staffing company, $20 million a year or something. And then I could implement systems, and the leverage I would get on that would scale way the hell up. And because of the low margins of that business, I don't know what the margins of an average staffing agency are, but I don't imagine they're more than 20%. I would be able to talk about how I have this business that's, generating $20 million. Even if the profit that I am making is not that massive, I will still have association with this big number. And then, I'll run a podcast circuit, and I'll like, well, so what do you do, Nick? Well, I have a portfolio of companies, and this one company makes $4 million. This other one makes $12 million. This other one makes $13 million. I have my agencies, I have my media brand, which generates $5 million a year in profit. Like, I think that's the play. Because I've taken this big hiatus specifically from the main channel, specifically because I wanted the time to be able to like contemplate the next step and not just approach it from a brute force perspective like I've been doing up until now. Because the brute force has been great, but it has clearly yielded some diminishing returns. And I believe I'm now finally getting at it. And me frantically reaching out to a bunch of these different business models over the last week is like me attempting to figure it out, So yeah, I did some journaling on it. I've talked to a couple of brokers and, people that are in private equity or whatever. That's something I'm considering doing. I think probably what I'm going to do is I'd probably start by investing a very small amount to purchase some small to mid-sized business. If I put, and I don't need to bank finance this, right? Like I have tons of money, just a ridiculous amount of cash flow that obviously I'm looking to write off. So if you think about it, like I could probably fully buy or invest, finance myself, $150,000 to $200,000. I could own 20% of a business that makes maybe $5 million a year with like 5% margin or something. I don't know. I don't know what the EBITDA multiples need to be, and I need to look more into this. But depending on the industry, I think I could totally do that. And then boom, now I like own this other company. Like think about when Alex Ramosi talks about owning a portfolio of companies that does $250 million a year, right? It's an extraordinarily apt and astute and intelligent play. But it's like, how much money do those companies actually make? And then what percentage ownership does he actually have in them? I'm sure he owns a ton of it. But like what I'm trying to say is, as a legitimatization vehicle, as a vehicle to turn you from not just like some dude that runs seminars or whatever, but turn you into like a business magnate, a trusted resource, somebody that both talks the talk and walks the walk, I can see no straight line path. I mean, if I'm financing all of this, and if I procure the deal from somewhere in my network, And then if I come in on some advisory role and then start implementing systems and giving them maybe even a weekly call of an hour a week, my cost to this would be $150,000 to $200,000 upfront plus an hour of my week. And then the benefit would be one, I mean, I'd make the business more money, which would be awesome. And then two, all of my content would just be fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to stop there, but hopefully you guys are understanding where I'm getting at with that. So yeah, I'm very interested in that. I've had a bunch of people from like the PE space have reached out to me over the last little while. This is one guy in particular who's doing some waste management stuff, and he owned a big portfolio of companies. I think it was like 30 or 40 million a year. He asked me to help him, and I initially turned him down, but I think I'm going to like reach out to him, probably like another 5 or 6 people, and just see if there's any play there, kind of take it from there. Thank you guys very much for sticking around to the end. Hopefully I didn't con you guys like with the GPT video. I'll catch all y'all tomorrow, okay? Cheers. Bye.